And welcome to SEC Sports Roundtable. This is your host, Shane Bailey, coming at you back-to-back episodes for those that are keeping up with things. If you caught the last episode, I did a mini post, a mini podcast yesterday, catching up on some things, and I'll touch on that again through the course of this podcast. I'll update everyone on that, but I want to welcome Blair Smyly. Hello, Blair.
It's good to be back.
Glad you're with us. Got a light podcast, I guess, today. We've got games. That's the most exciting thing. And,
man.
And we're through. I guess what it boils down to is that we can talk and plan and say who we think is going to be the best or is the best, but it's about time to put the action to it and put your money where your mouth is, or let everything speak for itself, because they're getting ready to start football in 4 days.
That's right, man. God, it's awesome. I'm excited. My dad came in this weekend, and it was his birthday, and I handed him a brand new chrome cowbell for his birthday, name engraved and everything. Just got me excited to go ring it.
Was that his best present ever?
Possibly, because he's actually never had a cowbell, strangely.
And how long has he been a season ticket holder at Mississippi State?
Well, season ticket holder the last I think this is his 9th year.
Okay.
Straight. He was I guess you could say season ticket holder probably when we were really, really young. But when we started getting into playing sports and my two sisters were cheerleaders, we kind of ceased and desist on the old, but 30 years ago, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. You could always get a ticket to a game, and we had uncles that had two uncles and aunts that actually worked at the university. So we maybe would go get a game or two, but we were so busy back then that, it was more of listening on the radio and doing that type of stuff. But, I've actually had a cowbell since I can't remember, so it's over probably 30 years old. But it's just kind of interesting. He never had one. So I figured for his 70th birthday, I would get the guy a nice chrome cowbell. So he's set up.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. And did you put his nickname on there?
No, I just put Gary F. Smyly in 1967, which is his year that he graduated from Mississippi State. So I think he's kind of fired up.
I don't know. Cowboy would look good on there.
It would have. That or G Daddy, that he's affectionately known by my son.
And we could spend a whole rat hole on the debate between how that occurred, can we not? And we won't do that.
Yeah.
But let's get into some things. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Really trying to work on our YouTube channel, trying to put up some closed captioning stuff. So I'm going to be editing that stuff in so it's a little more reliable. But YouTube does its own version, and you might appreciate this or not, but the other hobby of mine is tech, and so the YouTube channel, if you look at it, it can actually take a transcript of what is said, what we do here, and it automatically does it, and it's probably about 60% accurate. I forgot what it would call SEC Sports Roundtable for the longest time. It wasn't even close. But it was calling me Chamberlain as opposed to Shane Bailey. I forgot. Drew Young wasn't even a name. But it's been way off base. But it's amazing. It's starting to recognize patterns, and as I correct the text, it's going to go back to that database. I don't know what they're doing, but it's starting to become more and more accurate based on.
Do they have like different regions where the dialect that they can actually determine?
I don't know.
Do you have to pull up like the Swamp People version to get the subtitles to?
I think it just would go blah 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 blah. if it did Swamp People. I know that if you use good enunciation of your words and you talk nice and slow and the way you should be talking, except we're doing conversation, it does a better job of recognizing the words that are coming out of your mouth. But it's pretty amazing that it's even doing what it is.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm trying to go through there, and we've got 50. This is our 52nd episode.
Yeah.
because yesterday would have been 51. It was episode 50. We're always, and if you're ever wondering, we recorded at 000 as a test because we didn't know if this would work. So that's why we're always one more podcast than the number. But so this is our 52nd podcast. So I have to go through and, I've got to correct, sometimes 2 hours worth of footage on that. But so, I'm trying to at least get the welcome to SEC Sports Roundtable first, 2 minutes of every one of them. But I'm going to try to go through and clean that up, and that should help our rankings, because some of the ones that have been cleaned up a little more, like Mark Grace is still left-handed episode, it's got a couple thousand views on it already.
Wow.
And so, I'm pretty impressed by it. And so that does make a big difference from the if anyone's listening that's looking for social media tips, that captioning file can really help in searches and showing up in its evidence as you look at what is done as far as our views on YouTube. But of course, the video is being seen on YouTube. We have done some Ustream live versions of this. The last couple podcasts and this one as well, we're trying a Google Hangout so we can get live interaction. If you're ever listening to this and we throw a tweet out when we're recording, you're welcome to join in, and you can actually see what's going on and be part of it at times with that Google Hangout. It's a public hangout. But if anything, you can video stream live if you want the podcast as we're doing it. We are on iTunes as well as Stitcher Radio. That's two great ways to listen to the audio version of this podcast. And you can do that on a weekly basis. The recordings over the summer have always been almost always have been Sunday afternoon, but starting next week, that's definitely not going to be the recording time. We're going to be a little more flexible in our recording, so they will not. We can't guarantee you that check in Sunday afternoon, because we're all going to be involved with watching NFL football, even though we don't talk about the NFL here as much as we do personally. We all enjoy NFL, especially in Nashville with the Tennessee Titans and some of the talk there. But so it's going to be a little more flexible in when we can work around our work schedules, because we all do day jobs and have things that keep us from doing this on a regular basis. And Monday is Monday Night Football. So probably Tuesdays, most Tuesdays, it's looking like we're going to record this. So the podcasts are going to be out late Tuesday, early Wednesday. And so, in looking at numbers, you also saw a spike on Mondays since we've recorded these on Sundays. You can definitely see that. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of those things play out as we get into the season. But we are just 4 days away from the first kick, and that's going to happen here in Nashville. I think the Vanderbilt fans are excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big deal for Vanderbilt to be able to host that game, even though it's a Thursday night game. It's the only SEC game that's pitting two SEC teams against each other week one. So, we'll cover those and look at those games as we get to it. But I'll finish up with the housekeeping. I guess I do that so we can get into the news. But I did mention iTunes and Stitcher Radio for the audio version, YouTube for the video version. We are on Facebook at SECSRT and Twitter. SECSRT is our Twitter name. The Facebook page is a great place if you are able to. You can watch the video version as well as listen to the audio version of the podcast directly from Facebook if that's easiest for you. We try to find out as many ways to deliver this to you as possible. As well as that, we do have a website. SECSRT.com is the website. That'll bring you up there. Occasionally you'll see some blog posts put out there. We've done some live blogging of events for individuals that might be interested in that. So I'm trying to think of some of the things we've done in the past, since we're getting into football season and probably gearing some of that stuff back up. But be looking for some of that as we get comfortable with things, and it's a great way to get informed. Sometimes we have a poll up there. You're welcome to participate in that. So that's all the technical ways or ways that you can watch us or listen to us and find us. So we'd love for you to join in the conversation. Love for some feedback to start occurring on a more consistent basis from those individuals out there. Let us know you're out there live listening. That would be wonderful. Facebook is probably the easiest way, or Twitter. we're going to be real quick to probably get back to you on that. We do want to stay engaged with our audience there. So let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see, what you don't want to see, and we will take that into consideration. Doesn't mean we'll listen. We'll just take it into consideration. Right. But there were a couple things that were happening in the news this week, and let's start off in your neck of the woods and talk about some going-ons. Mississippi State. You want to do that for a few minutes?
Yeah, why not? State had a pretty good start to their Thursday with announcing a new hire for wide receivers coach and Tim Brewster to take over Angelo Mirando's kind of abrupt resignation the previous Sunday. So basically a week from a week ago today, he resigned for personal reasons, and kind of to everybody's surprise, which I think is a pretty big home run hire, is Tim Brewster, who is the former head coach, I believe, from 2007 to 2010 at Minnesota. And if you follow college football, was really there at Texas under Mac Brown in really his heydays. He was actually the lead recruiter that brought Vince Young and that talented group of players through that won the national championship for Texas. And so very, very, very strong recruiter, pretty fiery guy, and really sought out the position according to him and Dan Mullen. So started that off on Thursday as a very good start. And then Mr. Joe Shad from ESPN ruled, kind of came out with a tweet in about midday with regards to Angelo Mirando was basically resigned under pressure from an NCAA investigation into recruiting violations. So that kind of blew up the Twitter world for non-Mississippi State followers, and so it kind of got a little bit crazy. But over the last few days, that's kind of what was leaking out. I mean, obviously he resigned for personal reasons, but it was leaking out that there was either something to do with improper phone contacts with some recruits, that type of stuff, but is now kind of narrowed down where the search is with regards to Will Redmond, who is a Mississippi State 4-star safety from Memphis that is actually currently on the squad, and with regards to a car that was purchased for him, and could be some rogue booster stuff, and according to a lot of sources could involve several other SEC schools, but this is really all tying back, Shane, to the kid at Auburn that has a grade change that just was ruled ineligible a couple of weeks ago, and really has come out of this investigation of a 7-on-7 team in Memphis that coincidentally has the kid from Vanderbilt, the Kimbrough kid, that signed with Vanderbilt was on this 7-on-7 team. A kid from Georgia that's at Georgia now, the kid from Auburn, the kid from Mississippi State, and 2 from Ole Miss. So there's about 6 kids that signed SEC scholarships out of this class. And so it seems to be a little bit of a battle between the high school coaches in Memphis and this 7-on-7 coach. And so we'll kind of see how it goes for Mississippi State purposes, and for my purposes. Pretty much all sources have pretty much gathered that this was something that came about when Dan Mullen and the administration actually found out whatever it was. They immediately reported it and went through the channels that you're supposed to go through. So from an administration standpoint, it seems to be something that they're not terribly worried about. They did confirm that there were some irregular, I guess they termed it recruiting irregularities. So they made everybody go back and change the word investigation. But they have been dealing with the NCAA for several months and don't think anything major is coming out of it, or it's going to impact Dan Mullen or
you can put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig,
That's right. So, but it was it's pretty interesting. But I knew something happened whenever the guy abruptly resigns like he did, and so we'll see where it goes from here. But from all indications are, there may be something that comes out of it, but nothing too terrible that they can't really overcome. But it looks like Mississippi State did their due diligence once finding out and went through the proper steps and got rid of the coach. And so if it dings us a little bit and we've got a better recruiter and better coach out of it, sounds like a win-win for me.
And I was trying to do three things at once, so I knew I was aware of some of that information. But did you mention he followed Mullen from Florida?
Yeah, Angelo Mirando.
Because he'd been with Mullen for a while.
Yeah, he played football at Division III school and got a grad assistant job at Florida. And followed Dan Mullen to Mississippi State. He was 26 years old. Dan Mullen, after the Gator Bowl, when our wide receivers coach took the Mark Hudspeth, who was a prior head coach at North Alabama that won a couple of national championships in Division II. Whenever he got the Louisiana Lafayette job last year or 2 years ago, he was the wide receivers coach, and Mullen kind of hired Mirando to kind of take over that. So he was the youngest SEC assistant position coach in the conference, which was a pretty big deal. And so now I would say that his college career of coaching is pretty much gone down the tube. Nothing like a little being forced to resign that kind of stalemates you.
But was he a good recruiter?
I don't know. I mean, he seemed to be a guy that, all indications are that he was. I don't know how good of a recruiter he was, and how many guys were tagged by him. But I do know that he had a couple of Twitter mishaps last year that were little minor things that was watching some high schools play a jamboree and tweeted out that he was there and actually used the names of the schools, which you can't do, and stuff like that. So he obviously was flirting with a rules book that he wasn't in total control, and seemed to be a pretty aggressive guy trying to make his name. And so he obviously, some way, shape, or form, found out or knew about this improper, whether it was an improper benefit, whether it was done in kind of a backhanded way, or from all indications, don't believe that he was the one that actually did the violation, but he was aware of it in kind of their back research, which is forced resignation.
Well, and I only ask that because, I mean, it's been proven time and time again that if you can coach and you can recruit in the SEC,
they'll find a job for you.
You'll find a job. It might not be with the same team because they have to let you go, but you're going to end up on another team's roster in short order. So, especially when it comes to if recruiting is the only thing you're doing wrong. Yeah. I mean, let's just look at USC and the coaching staff they have over there. It's forgiven real fast because he didn't even have to lose the job at UT before he found a new home at USC. And, Pete Carroll, left USC in a turmoil from recruiting issues straight to the pros. So, it doesn't matter what you do as far as those things go if you can coach. And so, that was the question I had, and that's why I asked it in the way I did, because that's the big thing is if you can a lot can be forgiven if you're able to. Proof is in the pudding, I guess. So let's go on. I think that's a good recap of that information. Some other news that has occurred this week, and this is just minor. I think it's just a one-game suspension coming from Auburn for Reese Dismukes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
He's an All-American, freshman All-American center last year.
It's a big loss for even one game. But
a little public intoxication. But, they said it was at least one game, but they haven't ruled, and they played Mississippi State the second game, so I'll be interested to see how that works. I mean, the thing that sticks out to me, not only obviously being a freshman All-American and you're probably your best offensive lineman, but you're talking about the guy that's, basically the quarterback of the offensive line, the center that makes all the calls, and you're going to be having a Kyle Frazier that's going to be playing or starting really his first game, so to speak, and not to have the center he's been dealing with it's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking. So if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm a little bit worried about that going into the Clemson game because it's going to be a tough game to begin with.
It's not like some of these other teams that have North Texas or Southeast Louisiana,
State,
Jacksonville State, Jackson State. They've got Clemson, it is a home game for Auburn, I believe. They're at Auburn, so that helps. But it's still that doesn't matter when it comes to losing your starting center.
I mean, and it helps that Clemson doesn't have Sammy Watkins for the first 2 games, and so you're not going to have to deal with an All-American wide receiver that destroyed the ACC last year as a true freshman. But he's got a little drug-related incident over the summer that's forced a 2-game suspension. So they're going to be playing without that guy, which is a big, big piece. But across the board, Clemson's going to be a more experienced football team.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough match for Auburn. And you make a good segue there. You said a little drug use over the summer, and that leads us to the last bit of news. And I don't want to say that it is what it is, but all indications from Knoxville seems to believe, but based on the way the suspension came down, or I guess it was the release, or was it a suspension? Indefinite suspension. He's not been released. Derek Rogers from Tennessee.
Big loss. I mean, and
Drew had to go to vulgarities on Twitter to me.
I can only imagine
when I asked him about that, and John Schultz, the other big
he
UT
had
fan,
to just basically jump off a building, right?
There was no comment from him.
Yeah.
He never replied, so
I
couldn't even get
check on his health.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But it's a huge blow to Tennessee, because that was what was going to make Tennessee something of a threat, is that you had Derek Rogers, you had Justin Hunter, who was coming back, and from most indications he's close to where he was.
Yeah.
He's still going, and that's the thing with Hunter, he's still going to have to get hit.
Yep.
Get up, realize that his knee's okay for him to be 100%, because it's still mental for him, and he's even said that mentally that's his biggest thing is overcoming that, because he's never been hurt before. And they've got another guy. I can't think. Patterson.
JUCO. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if you take Bray, Hunter, Patterson, Rogers,
it's scary
on the football field. The only thing that was a sure thing was Derek Rogers.
Yeah.
He was the only one. I mean, to put up 67 completions last year, receptions, and over 1,000 yards on an offense that couldn't do anything the last 6 games. You're talking about a guy that was a legitimate all-SEC performer, and the only really guaranteed thing. So now all of a sudden you go from not having him to a junior college kid that always has a little bit of a curve. I mean, you just don't know about JUCO kids, and you don't know about Hunter, and then you still got Bray, and so all indications. I think for me being a UT, just not a big fan of UT. You could tell in Derek Dooley's voice that, number one, this was out of left field. It was obviously a new occurrence. So this which we believe is a substance abuse issue, just popped up because 2 days prior he took all first rep.
And it's not his
first. Reps, yeah.
And not his first occurrence either.
But if you're Derek Dooley, and he talked about it. I mean, as a coach, your biggest casualty as a coach is the decisions of 18 to 22-year-olds. And at some point in time, and Derek Dooley, did that this summer. He basically took a chance on a kid that had a troubled past, that was having a hard time kind of learning, probably for the first time in his life, to deal with discipline and a lot of those types of things. And, a part of Derek Dooley, was willing to go the extra mile for a guy and try to get what was out of him. And from all indications from everybody across the board, and you could hear it in all of the Knoxville guys that called in that I listened to on the radio, that it was not an attitude deal. It wasn't he blew up the coaching staff like it was this summer or years past. That it was, by all indications, he was doing everything he was supposed to be doing, from a practice standpoint and from an attitude standpoint. And so for Derek Dooley to see all that progress made, and then him still make a decision that he made that forces his hand, it's just got to be frustrating. And to have it happen, less than a week before the game, and kind of move on, it's got to be difficult. And you could tell that you could tell in his comments that, the guy was actually hurt. But he also knows that not only does it hurt him from a player standpoint, it hurts him from an absolute team standpoint. And
will he be
what
there
they're
next year standpoint?
Yeah, I think Derek Dooley's gotten to the point where he knows that he's got to perform and win to do that, and just got to be frustrating as a UT fan because it seemed like he was kind of turning the page, but a big loss for those guys. And but the interesting thing, if you heard Herman Lathers, who's the middle linebacker that's got such a great story, and is a guy that's all about team, to hear his comments of, we worked with him this summer when he was here, and we worked without him. And so, he kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, this is not a big surprise to us. There's a chance that we all kind of knew in the back of our head that, Derek is, he was a me guy, and obviously made another me decision that forced their hand. And I don't think from a team standpoint they're going to be totally affected from an attitude standpoint because they've seen this story before. It's just you're taking 1,000 yards away in an offense that didn't have Bray last year or Hunter for half the season.
And I guess we'll talk about it again when we get to the picks or talk about the upcoming games. But, the other positive, I guess, if you have to have a positive for Tennessee, is that you do have Hunter and you do have Patterson.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got two potentially all SEC wide receivers.
But what do you have after that? I mean, look at their receivers. I mean, I wish Drew was here to kind of give me their depth chart. But, I mean, you're going back to Rodgers. I mean, Zach Rodgers and those guys that were 4th and 5th and 6th receivers that now all of a sudden are your 3rd, 4th, and 5th options.
Right.
And from a depth standpoint, you maybe can camouflage this and that, and you've got Hunter and you've got Patterson, but there's no way, shape, or form that you were going to totally not see a difference out there with Derek Rodgers on the field. I mean, he was a legit physical receiver that could have easily put up 1,200 yards this year.
So that brings up an interesting thing when you think about it, and tell me who was drugs and who was not drugs. We'll never know for certain, but Dyer.
Yep.
Crowell.
Yeah, Crowell. I'm trying to remember. Was that
I can't remember
drug
either.
related or just stupidity? No, you know what? He had weapons and drugs possibly. I think, but he had weapons.
They stopped the car
school
because they thought they smelled marijuana and they couldn't find any. So we're going to give that one to drugs.
He had altered serial numbers. Yeah, you got to love that.
But he was initially stopped because they thought the police officer smelled marijuana. So you got Dyer, Crowell, Rodgers. Rambo for Georgia with the pot brownies. Now
Matthew.
He's a couple games. Matthew.
Yeah.
That's 5. 5 playmakers, not just middle-of-the-road kind of guys in the SEC. These are big-named SEC,
It's a huge epidemic that I think is going on in college sports is this whole kind of drug use, things that are, to even go into – painkillers and that type of stuff. It's things that I know from an athletic standpoint.
Oh, we don't even want to go down the painkiller route.
I mean, you're talking about kids that are getting hurt and injuries and that type of stuff is, that's a huge epidemic that's going across not only sports but across the country and as a whole in substance abuse from that standpoint. But that seems to be more of an issue. And
the NCAA is going to have to do something because it affects the product. And, that's one thing about the NFL. It's always, does it hurt the shield? The NCAA doesn't have a shield, but it does hurt the product that's being out there. We want to see folks like Rodgers and Crowell
and
Dyer.
I think the SEC would like to see a standardized. That's the whole problem is that when you get into each institution,
because UT's might be, the way we understand it is 3. Florida is 4.
Yeah, Florida. I don't think you get suspended until after the 4th time. I think Georgia, Mississippi State, and there was another one that you said last time that actually has a suspension after the first violation. And so Ole Miss has got one that they're actually trying to look at. Your new guy from Western Kentucky, that's the AD, is trying to change it, but there's suspensions, but there's no set number that gets you kicked off the team, and according to their bylaws. So it's all different across the board, and trying to standardize that is going to be difficult. And then you take into consideration outside the SEC and the Sports Illustrated article with regards to Oregon and those types of things when you get out there on the West Coast. Well, Oregon, they had either Sports Illustrated or ESPN, the magazine, where they discussed college football and marijuana use, and the Oregon had roughly about a dozen players that basically spoke anonymously that said that over 60% of their football team used marijuana because Oregon was a state.
Well, it grows in their backyard in Oregon.
But the state, the institution's hands are held because the state law does not allow them to do random drug testing. So there's not a way that a kid at Oregon can actually be randomly drug tested. And so that creates this whole kind of dynamic, and so it was interesting. I mean, so it kind of opened up a whole debate, which we could go on forever.
So you want to be a professional football team in Oregon? How come Portland doesn't have one? You would think if that's the case,
they're a trailblazer town, man.
Not anymore. They blazed right on out of there. Is what they did. You would think it'd be the other way around with the NBA too, and that's a whole other subject. And we've talked about that, is the marijuana use.
Yeah.
And is it right or wrong to be testing for that stuff? And
now the whole synthetic stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know any. I don't understand it. Don't know anything about it. But it's
not
obviously a huge deal.
Yeah, it's not something that I'm not part of that culture.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is there's a culture inside.
Oh yeah.
Collegiate sports, especially when you're talking about those large D1 schools or BCS schools. Look how far back I'm going. Those BCS schools. There's a different culture that I'm not a part of, or wouldn't even be. I think most people would be surprised if they truly knew the culture that goes on around there. And that's not what this podcast is about, and I don't even want to go down that way. So let's take a look here. I think, any other news that I miss?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, just other than just depth chart stuff and all that kind of stuff that gets you all excited about football.
Yeah, I mean, for your team,
yes,
that's nothing that's entertaining to talk about on a podcast that covers all the SEC. Unless,
why is that kid not on the 2-deep?
Unless we were talking about your team, and then you'd be excited, I guess. But let's take a look here at some of this week's action, and I guess now's a good time to let you guys know how we're doing our picks this year. In the last year, if you listened at all, what we did was we did a weekly segment of the podcast, and we put that up separately, where we go through and we look at the games and give our picks and put those out there. And there's a separate video version of that one. And so we'll as we get into the season, we'll probably put out some of those. But what we are doing is we've created a Yahoo page on Yahoo Fantasy, and I've given everyone that might be interested the ability to come join in and try that out. So all you have to do is email me at comments@secsportsroundtable.com. If you do that, what we'll do is give you the group ID and the passcode so that you can join in and be part of this. So what we'll enable you to do is take part and see how well you do against the hosts. And last year, looking at it as a whole, all the hosts in general, if you look at the totals, we were about 58% against the spread.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
If Drew didn't drag us down, we'd have
there were two people that were sub 500, and I wasn't going to name names.
Yeah. I was.
And
isn't
there was one other one. And
isn't Drew doing a nice surprise this year for the winter, where he's going to take them to Las Vegas or somewhere like that for 3 nights, something like that?
That's you're going to have to ask Drew that.
We'll ask him. We'll catch up with him next time.
But what you will do is be able to join that group with the group ID and the passcode and see how you do against that. And last year, and I didn't go back and recalculate this because I have it somewhere in notes, but I just didn't have time to do it. But the last post we have that I saw was for the bowl games. And we didn't do a final one that I could see. And I probably did and just missed it. I just had 5 minutes before to check into it. But before the bowl games, myself and Brett were tied at 59, 29, and 7.
Yeah.
And that's a 68%, almost 68% winning percentage against the spread. That's pretty strong. I think
it's really strong, and I got to up my game in the football this year because I totally destroyed y'all in the basketball, I believe. But I'm looking forward to this with the 2 extra teams and 2 extra games potentially on a weekly basis with Texas A&M and Missouri. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of stuff to kind of see. It's kind of fun to see how people pick and when you're going against the spread and all that good stuff.
And I'm not a gambler. I go to Vegas. I've been 3 or 4 times, and to me, I just don't like the thought of handing somebody my money because I know I'm not getting it back. And
see, I'm one of those guys. If I take $100 and I'm up $500 and I lose it all, your real gambler goes, "I lost $100."
I lost $500.
Yeah. And I'm the exact opposite. I had whatever I get up. I know that's my money, and
there was only one
can't
time I've been up, and you were there for that night.
That was a random night. We all won that night.
Yeah,
that was good stuff.
But you have to, at least I do.
Except for Drew. Drew had a rough night.
He did. But I have to go to one of those as that's like going to a ball game. It's an expense.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way, because I can't treat it as gambling because I'm not, I just, that's not in my nature to say I can make money there because I know that Vegas has got those big buildings for one reason. Vegas wins.
Oh, yeah.
And so, to know that and know that, as a whole, we were over 58%. And like you said, if you took out those 2 sub 500 teams, the group itself would have been over 60% against the spread. So, I'm not here to brag, but, it just goes to show that we kind of know football a little bit.
Yeah.
So, that's fun. So we'd like to get you guys that are listening out here. We'd love to have you guys join in. Like I said, so comments at SECSportsRoundtable.com, and I will get you the ability to join in that group. So we're going to keep it clean. I'll moderate that. So just know that if you want to join in, it'll be clean. I might even have to edit Drew a little bit. But love to, I don't know. I think in the past, doesn't Yahoo max those out at like 50 people on those?
Yeah, I have no idea.
If it's 50, I'd love to be able to say let's get this thing maxed out. From the listeners and the host we have here, and see how
we're going to have about 10 of us guys, 10 to 12 that are going to be kind of the normal ones that may be on this round table.
There's about 18 hosts in the past year that have said here to be at a round table. So if we get all of those involved, plus plus it wouldn't take that many to do that, and then that opens it up to some friends of ours as well. Send that out there, but looking forward to that. So that's out there. The Yahoo page is set up. The hosts have that information. A couple of them have already signed up. I'm a little disappointed the spread information's not out there already. I mean, but I guess it's generally Monday before when you see that. So hopefully we'll see the actual spreads get up there so we can make those picks in the next couple days. And that's another thing that by having the podcasts on Tuesday worked well for us, is the spreads were out there. So when we're making those picks, it's just too early. Now we're just picking straight up. And these first, when you're looking at the first games of the season, there's, if you look at my podcast or looking at the website, SECSRT.com, there's a, hello, little man. Had a guest just join us for a second. But if you do go to the website, SECSRT, there's a blog post out there, games to watch in week 1. And I really, there was just 4 to highlight. Of real, unless you're, like you're a Mississippi State fan, so, Jackson State's going to be a game for you to be interested in. The casual SEC fan's not going to be into some of those games. So there's only like 4 games, and it's going to be hard to put spreads on some of these when you're talking to Jackson State or Jacksonville State, Southeast Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes more difficult to make those picks, because the spreads, when you do see it, you're going to probably see some of these to be like 30-point favorites.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll kind of look through those real quick. We've got the list of the games. We're going to start with Thursday's action, and that's USC at Vandy. Like we said, they're going to kick off the college football season for us. Is game day coming here? Do you know?
No, the game day is going to be at the Michigan-Alabama game for Saturday, but they'll actually have Thursday, whatever hoopla they'll have with the game, but there won't be an actual game day. That'll just be on Saturdays.
Okay. But they'll probably have a little bit more than just the normal crew here, because it's that college kickoff, the Chick-fil-A kickoff, right?
No, that's going to be Friday and Saturday, which is the Chick-fil-A thing.
Oh, that's going to be in Atlanta.
But this is just, it's funny because South Carolina's done this a lot. I mean, we did it back-to-back years, South Carolina, Mississippi State 4 or 5 years ago, or gosh, probably been longer than that when Kroom was there to start off the football season. So it's always tough. I mean, to start off as an SEC opponent, I mean, somebody's going to get the leg up early, and somebody's going to get off on a rough start from the beginning, because those games they count. And
they count, and it's East matchups too. It's not even just SEC East versus West. It's 2 East teams playing each other. So even a bigger hole to have to dig yourself out of.
And the one thing that it's kind of got me bummed about this is, the Titans have their 4th preseason game at 6 p.m. that night here in Nashville. So, and I know there's not a lot you can do with that, but I wasn't going to go to the game, and then my wife's got club level seats and a parking pass, and that were given to us. So we're going to go take advantage, go with some friends. But so I'm going to have to DVR this thing and get back to the house and try to catch up with it. But
that I made that connection today, and of all places, sitting in church, it's like, it just hit me that Titans play their last preseason game Thursday, and it's going to be a mess downtown.
It's going to be an absolute mess downtown.
Thank goodness you've got 30 blocks between the two or 28 blocks or so, and a river between the two stadiums. But that's Vanderbilt holds what, 45,000? Is that
41,
right?
41, I think, or something like that.
And you're probably going to see a sellout.
Oh yeah.
And the Titans, I mean, luckily it's a preseason game. Most of your starters are going to be.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of the dreadful preseason game.
Yeah.
So I don't see the crowd. I mean, I went last Thursday, and or this past Thursday, and it was kind of the first preseason game at home, and so you had a really good crowd.
And it's the third. That's the game to watch.
Yeah.
That's
so
most of your
the starters went into the second half and that type of stuff, so it was good. And I know we're talking about picks, but I'm going to throw this out as kind of a one-off, not anything SEC related. But the Titans broke out their new jumbotrons, which are the largest outdoor jumbotrons in the country. The only ones bigger are the ones in the Texas Stadium.
Yeah, I was going to say the only one's bigger is an indoor, and it's Jerry's.
And so it was really, really ridiculous to see those.
New sound system,
new elevators that take 11,000 people to the upper decks in under 20 minutes. That's moving people.
That is.
And then they actually built, which is kind of Music City-esque. They do it at the hockey games, but they built a stage under one of the jumbotrons on the north end. And the only bummer about the whole thing is they got Phil Vassar for the whole year as the entertainer, which he is so old and irrelevant. I don't understand. I know he wrote a lot of great songs, but just a complete garbage pick on my end.
So he's there
all the people that you could pick in Music City to come. They get Phil Vassar, who has this cheesy goatee now and his hat on backwards and sunglasses at 7:30 at night, and it's pitch black.
He's at every game?
Every game. He is the 2012 season entertainer, I guess.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I knew about
That's
the
what
stage.
I was told, and so I'm hoping that is wrong.
maybe he got that.
I felt like it was 1999.
Maybe he received that as a name because he was the first one.
Who knows? It was garbage. But anyway, so I digress. Let's get off the Titans.
So all he played was his hits, and his hits were from like 15 years ago. Is what you're saying?
Like I saw Phil Vassar. Like I remember moving here in 2000 and going with a group to the old hotel out there by the airport where he played the piano and all that kind of stuff.
Before he was big.
I mean, he had written the songs. You know, he made it as a songwriter first before he decided to, try to pull a Brad Paisley and become a big rock star too. But I don't know. It was just awful. It's terrible, horrible pick. They did a lot of good things, but I'm just like, Phil Vassar is just so irrelevant. It's not even funny.
How do you really feel about that?
I mean, it just drove me crazy. I'm like, of all the things, I mean, anyway, he's not reaching the young demographic, that's for sure. That's just me. So let's back to Vandy, South Carolina. I think this is going to be an awesome atmosphere for Vanderbilt standpoint. I actually saw a fantastic tweet by James Franklin earlier today that said "Revenge of the Nerds." LOL. I love it when a grown man does LOL. But so I always thought that was kind of funny. But that James Franklin has built this whole spring and summer to lead up to this game. So I think from that standpoint, they're going to be. I mean, South Carolina is going to have to come here and play, and South Carolina sometimes starts off slow. They don't play Vanderbilt very well, and I just look for this to be a good game. I think South Carolina, from my standpoint, is going to win the ball game because I think they're going to hand it to Marcus Lattimore, and he's just going to run forever. I think that's just what's going to happen, but I won't be totally surprised if Vanderbilt comes in there and ekes out a victory.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Vanderbilt's going to have to play a great game to do that. I don't think it's impossible, but I'm like you. I'm going to go with unlikely at that point, and we'll know more once we see the actual.
And heaven forbid that any of this hurricane weather gets on through up into Nashville and Tennessee, because that crowd you're talking about, it still is Vandy. So inclement weather comes where they can't actually park in their little garage and walk their 100 feet in sunshiny or perfect weather conditions, then you're going to have a light crowd. That's just Vanderbilt. So I'm hoping that the weather holds clear, but there could be a possibility of a little bit of rain.
You think even with all the excitement that Franklin's trying to do this year, that's going to be the case for this game?
I don't think so, but Vanderbilt never underestimates me when it comes to the 65 and older crowd. That's about 20,000 of them.
I think I agree with you that the Vanderbilt fans will, to say fair weather is, but I believe that even if it's raining or not the perfect weather for this event, the way he's talked it up and the excitement that's on West End, it's going to be there. Now, it's only going to take a loss or two for all that goodwill and excitement to disappear. So I don't think that's going to be an issue here. And that's the biggest thing Vanderbilt's going to have going for them, is this is probably going to be the most excitement that's been seen at Vanderbilt for a home game
in a while, probably since they had game day here when they started off that 4-0 or 5-0 a couple of years ago. A few years, man, that's been like 4 or 5 years
with Bobby Johnson.
But that's it's definitely going to be a lively atmosphere, and I give James Franklin kudos for really drumming down the season tickets and getting the excitement going. And I think Vanderbilt is going to, from an offensive standpoint, be able to move the ball and do some things. I just want to see what their defense actually does, because you lose a Chris Marv and some of those really, really good leadership and those corners that they lost. I mean, they're really good football players, but they had a lot of experience. So I'm interested to see, and I think Lattimore is going to be on a little bit of a mission to let everybody know in the SEC that he's back and that he's got no issues with his knee. And and I think they're going to be too much to handle, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's one of the 4 games I have that I've circled as a game to watch.
That's a good one.
And the next one's not one we're going to have to spend a lot of time on. It's A&M at La Tech. Had to look down to make sure that
I'll tell you a little experience about La Tech and Ruston,
they can surprise
Louisiana.
you, right?
Well, obviously that was the downfall of Croons last year at Mississippi State when we went to La Tech and lost to open up the football season. But you want to talk about the most jacked up stadium that you'll ever see in your life. You guys need to check in if you're listening to this podcast and look at this stadium. My parents went to the game, and my dad shot me a picture from his phone because the football stadium has like the old school fixed features bleachers, and they don't arc around the end zone. They just go straight. So my parents were sitting 20 yards past the end zone straight away. So they basically had to turn and look back. They did not turn or anything. He said it was the worst seating arrangement he had ever seen in a football stadium. He was literally 20 yards past the end zone, having to look back just to see their own 20-yard line. So it was just a horrendous environment, but they followed up with a nice L. So I don't think there's going to be any issues whatsoever. Texas A&M is going to go in there and take care of business.
Yeah, I agree totally. The next game, though, is another game I've got circled as a game to watch, and that's going to be the first Chick-fil-A game.
Yes.
And that's going to be UT hosting North Carolina State, even though it's on neutral site or neutral field.
Yeah.
NC State's the home team.
I tell you what, I'm excited to see this game. My wife and I are going to her parents' house on Friday, so I'm trying to work around arrangements now that it starts at 6:30 Central to get there on time to be able to see the start of this game. But I don't know if you've seen this, Shane, but talked to a ton of people here in Nashville that are going to this game. I think it's going to be. I think it's such a big game for Tennessee fans, and it's an opportunity to be kind of in this meaningful start to a season and going to Atlanta, a very accessible place for Tennessee fans. I think you're going to see a huge crowd. So I'm interested to see what the crowd is going to be like when we get there, come Friday night.
And that's being played at the Georgia Dome, right?
Georgia Dome, yeah.
So, yeah.
Huge game. Friday night, you're going to have Auburn and Clemson there because they're playing the next day. But supposedly, from the people I've heard, it's just a ton of people that I know are my UT friends that are all heading down there, and they're making a big weekend out of it. So it ought to be interesting.
And, the early line had UT as a favorite. I don't know what it is now, and it's not up on.
I want to say that it was
like
it was a pretty high, like it was 6.5.
Yeah.
And I think with Rogers gone, it's actually dropped. It's probably put that in half.
That's what I was thinking.
So it's closer to a field goal game, and I think NC State. I'm interested to see. Because NC State's got the quarterback. If you guys remember NC State, they said, Russell Wilson, we don't want you anymore. You just go to Wisconsin, and next year you'll start for Seattle. As a rookie in the NFL, which is what looks like it's going to do at 5'10". But a lot of people, when you started getting into this Russell Wilson, Wisconsin world last year, people kind of forgot about NC State, and they got that quarterback that kind of went in there and kind of held his own amongst the. Which had to be a difficult environment, losing somebody like a Russell Wilson that had been there forever. I'm interested to see. They got a good quarterback, and I think NC State, there's not a lot of, there's all the noise about Derek Dooley and being on the hot seat. And so I don't know much about NC State. I just know they have a good quarterback. So with the news of Rodgers, you just want to see how it affects them.
Yeah, no, that's the big question mark. We've already talked about there's a couple question marks with Tennessee, and it's what's going to happen is there going to be somebody that can step in and try to take that place of Rodgers now that he's not going to be there? Is Hunter going to be able to be what he was last year before the Florida game? And it's going to take him to get hit to do that. He's going to.
And Tennessee's got to run the football.
and that's the question mark.
And Derek Dooley was very open about that. I mean, when things fell apart last year, when they took on some injuries, the thing that actually kind of snuck up on them was the inability to run the football to alleviate some of the issues that they actually had. I have no doubt that Tennessee can throw the football, but if they are running the football like they were last year, they're still going to have, they're still going to be somewhat one-dimensional and still going to struggle in some games. And with this loss, they've got to be able to kind of go out. And from all indication is the offensive line has been, kind of a lot more dominant than they were, and they've got all the experience behind them to be that dominant line and get them running the football. But I don't know how dynamic of the backs you're going to have. And then to flip it on the other side, Shane, would be, can they stop the run, with the new defensive whole coaching staff and the 3-4, 4-3, 5-2, packages that they're going to be doing, how is that going to work? And, can NC State run the ball to kind of control the game? So a lot of stuff, man. It's a very, very, very intriguing game.
Yeah, no, I agree. So there's a lot more unknown there than there was, this time last week when we were talking about it. But even then, it's going to make it more of an exciting game, I think. We're going to run through the next ones pretty quick. Buffalo at Georgia. I don't think there should be any issues there. The number is, how high is that going to be?
Exactly.
And that changes. Do you put money on Buffalo versus Georgia at that point? The next one, same thing. Bowling Green at Florida.
Bowling Green typically has pretty decent ball clubs, because isn't that Ohio school, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, Ohio.
Yeah. So,
what's funny is Bowling Green, Kentucky is Western. So.
Yeah. So the Bowling Green, it usually has a somewhat decent football team, and so I would keep an eye on that game just to see how Florida defensively comes out and dominates, and then back situation, kind of what's going on there.
So the next game is the third game of 4 that I have circled as games to watch, and that's going to be Clemson at Auburn. And we've talked a little bit about that. Even more dynamics are occurring with this game now that we've got that suspension of the center at Auburn. They were going to have a tough time of it as it is. Maybe that's another costly snap at some point. What game was it? Was it last week's podcast we were talking about Tennessee and the snap? It was Britain.
Pouncey,
it was Britain having those dreams, those nightmares of a bad snap costing them the game, and that could be Auburn.
Yeah.
That could be an Auburn fan. That could be with the War Eagle Nation come Sunday morning, having just that because of that situation, because of the pressure of playing a team like Clemson and not having that cupcake game won. So big mistake from the center standpoint, and I bet he wish he could have that night over again.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see where that one comes in.
Yeah, and the Clemson on the other side, and we talked about this as well, is Sammy Watkins. They're All-American, do everything receiver. If you watched anything with regards to Clemson last year until they fell apart there a little bit at the end, was just as dominant as any player in college football as a true freshman. And Tosh Boyd, is obviously a seasoned quarterback. That's going to be for them. So Sammy Watkins not being part of that game is going to be a big deal.
Did he make the Heisman watch list preseason?
I know Watkins probably had to have.
I was thinking
but I don't Boyd. Yeah.
Boyd, he didn't. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's still seeing Devin Taylor and Clowney from South Carolina just destroying him last year in that game. The last game they about killed that guy. But Clemson.
Talk about nightmares.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where this is going to be an intriguing game because I think Clemson. I saw a stat the other day because Dabo Swinney is one of the most enigma coaches out there. It's kind of funny, but he. If you remember this game last year at Clemson, where they won the game and he was basically screaming bloody murder at the reporter after the game like they had won the national championship, which went all over YouTube. But they had lost 14 games against Auburn. They were 0-14 against Auburn in their history, which I thought was kind of a random stat, but so they had finally won one, and defending national champion, that type of thing. So, so I know that I'm interested to see how this game goes, because I think Clemson's got a lot in store for the ACC this year, and are one of those teams that's up there in the top 20 in the country, possibly top 15. So, and then Auburn, they got 2 tough tests coming right out of the gate.
Yes, they do, because they come to you second week, right? So I'd like to say it's an SEC sports roundtable podcast, and I like to do that, but I don't think they've got a win in that game.
Yeah, I'm not voting for Auburn to win anything ever again, so I don't care. After the last 2 years, I don't care if Auburn ever wins again. That's just my personal opinion.
No love lost there.
No.
All right, so now we go through a series of pretty easy games to figure out. LSU is hosting North Texas. Again, some of these, like that game, is how high is that number going to be? What is going to be interesting is to see the quarterback first time getting on the field. I think they're really going to want to try to stretch the field and see what he can do a little bit, give him some good confidence. So I look for a high number from LSU in that game. Central Arkansas is at Ole Miss, one of the few wins on Ole Miss's schedule this year. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, the thing you want to see from Ole Miss is how clean and crisp are they, kind of in the first game under Freeze, and kind of what the attitude is, and kind of excitement level from that standpoint. So it's a good game to kind of get going.
Yeah, I agree, and that you bring up an interesting point there with that, is that you can see how well a team is coached when you have a new coach come in like that, and see how disciplined they may or may not be. So, and that'll be a good way to determine that is the penalties.
Yeah,
are there a lot of stupid penalties that those silly 5 yards that add up a lot of offsides, illegal motions, things like that really go into a discipline of a team.
And Ole Miss has had a lot of attrition here in the last 2 weeks, and so I haven't really kept up with it lately, but from Ole Miss fans or some of my buddies, it's going to be a long year for them. They feel like, but unlike Houston Nutt, there was not. He was kind of the preacher man, so to speak, the reverend, and was always a motivating factor, but that just kind of disappeared. So, this guy's, supposedly going to kind of bring back a little bit of enthusiasm and excitement, a little bit of fire that Ole Miss really has needed.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the point you make there is that, Ole Miss fans see that there's improvement in the horizon. I don't think they had that confidence with Nutt, or it'd still be there.
Yeah.
They weren't going to see improvement, and Freeze is putting his stamp on his recruiting. It's going to be a little rebuilding time for there, and the problem is they're in the West.
Yeah.
And it's such a tough, and as a Mississippi State fan, it's tough to get. They might become in the middle. There might be a larger middle pack, but
yeah. I mean, when you add in Texas A&M and and State's halfway decent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
You're gonna
brutal.
You're going to get, what you might have is you've got the haves, the wannabes, and the have-nots in the SEC West right now. You might just have the haves and have-nots,
exactly.
or the haves and the wannabes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what you can hope to obtain to as an Ole Miss program, because it's going to be hard to get from that wannabes into the haves.
Right.
There's only 3 right now on that side. And even then, Arkansas has trouble playing. I mean, they had a loss against both teams, LSU and Alabama last year. So interesting to see what's going to happen there. The next game we've got is Jackson State at Mississippi State. Shouldn't be any issues there for you guys. What are you looking most forward to out of that game?
Well, the one thing I'm looking for, Jackson State, which I thought was kind of an interesting line, they've got 9 seniors and 2 juniors on their starting defense. So it's kind of funny. We played them 4 years ago in 2009, Dan Mullen's first year. So Mullen, I thought, was pretty funny when he said that they're going to have some guys that are going to be playing their second game in our stadium, and we're going to be playing some guys in their first game in our stadium. So, when you get those first day games, but for me, there's 2 things that are going to happen because I don't think there's been any preparation whatsoever for Jackson State. I think everything's been geared for that week 2 game with Auburn, and I'll be interested to see. There's going to be one of two things happen. Everybody knows that Russell is the new quarterback, and we're going to open it up some,
Right.
But I'm wondering, there's two things that are going to happen. Either we throw the ball all over the place in Jackson State to show Auburn that we're going to throw it around, and then we feel like we can come out and establish the run and kind of do some play action stuff against Auburn, or we're just going to run the ball down Jackson State's throat and not show a thing. So I'm interested to kind of see how that rolls around and kind of goes from there. But
from an outsider, do you know what I see him doing?
What's that?
Giving him just enough confidence to know that he's
Yeah.
got the ability, and if the run game is effective, just pound it.
Yeah.
Why waste any cards when you got the hand to beat a team like Jackson State when you have Auburn the next week?
The fun thing was,
that's the way I would coach.
The funny thing is that yesterday they had a fan day at Mississippi State, which was the 1,000th day they've held the Egg Bowl trophy, and so you got to get your picture taken with the Egg Bowl with the hashtag Hail State and 1,000 days of the Egg Bowl. So that was kind of funny, but
no salt to rub right there.
No, and they actually had the student tickets go on sale. So they had 7,800 students that stood in line through the junction and pouring down rain to go get season tickets, and they'll have the other 3,200 that'll go on sale on Monday. So they have 11,000 student tickets, which is by far the largest student ticket disbursement in the SEC. So it's kind of a interesting thing.
Now, is there did Mississippi State do some more renovations? Did they do some more this year on the?
No, they've done just a couple of things with the field, but they've already barricaded. And they're going to break ground on the $75 million north end zone.
Okay, it's coming.
It's coming, and it'll be here for the 2014 season.
Okay,
so not this year, not next year.
Is that the TV side?
No, that's the opposite end.
So
they're going to bowl
that
in.
That's closer to where the tailgating action is, right?
No, it's opposite of where it is.
Okay.
Yeah, the scoreboard where it is now is where the junction is.
Okay.
But they're going to bowl that in and really do some amazing stuff. It's going to have some things that SEC stadiums don't have currently, which it's kind of the beauty at Mississippi State and even maybe Ole Miss and probably even Kentucky, in that you don't have 100,000 seats, and so you can put we're supposed to have another jumbotron comparable to the size of the one we have that's going to be incorporated above the dome, the bowled in side, but being able to do some of those things and those extra benefits that some of the larger stadiums can't do, just simply because
they don't have
obstruction of views and that type of stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we need to see if we can get the round table to do a remote from.
We need to, man. It's going to be funny. I mean, actually, they said that after the fan day that they had a whole slew of people actually doing practice runs for their tailgating spots. So they actually were tailgating because they had kind of a big soccer and volleyball and kind of some of the Olympic sport weekend, and so they did their trial run to kind of get ready for the Saturday, which I thought was quite comical.
Well, we need to make some off-air plans to see if we can make that happen. We've got some connections down there and see what we can
get some of those SB Nation guys down there and see if we can't get hooked up.
Yes, and get a couple of good guests to pop in there in our podcast. That'd be something we might want to try to see if we can work out towards the fall. It's not too late to do that. The next game we're looking at is Jacksonville State. So we had Jackson State at Mississippi State. The next one's Jacksonville State at Arkansas.
That's going to be a debacle.
Yeah, it's going to be a way for John L. to showcase. And you think he's going to have to come out and showcase a little bit as well. He's one of those where new coach in a program that's got a lot of talent.
Oh, yeah.
It's let's show that we really do belong where we need to be. But they might try to hold a few things back as well, because they follow up with a tough week 2
weeks later.
Week 3 opponent with Alabama. So it's not one of those where you've got October games or November games for tough SEC opponents. They're going in week 3 with Alabama. So, and they've got another cupcake the next week, or I hate to call them cupcakes, money games, I guess, for those programs. So they shouldn't have any problems there. Then, though, we do have the last game I have circled, and that's Michigan at Alabama. and I'm really excited about that game.
I am too.
I hope Michigan is what everybody thinks they are, and if they are, that should be a good game. What I don't want, though, is the same letdown I had last year when Alabama went to the Big Ten. Was it still the Big Ten? Is that what they called it last year?
Yeah, I can't remember.
When they went to Happy Valley.
Oh, yeah.
And, everybody was expecting that Penn State was going to give them a good matchup, and it didn't happen.
No.
I mean, from the very beginning, Alabama basically took control of that game. They were very methodical, very tactical, and didn't run up the score. We've talked about that before. Saban doesn't have to run up the score. He respected Paterno up there, and it was kind of a boring game.
It was a very boring game.
And hopefully you don't have a repeat of that, because I could see that all of a sudden they're able to just stop Denard Robinson from Michigan, and if they can eliminate him, that's their offense. He can run the ball, he passes. If they're able to control him, and all of a sudden that becomes a very vanilla game, because it's going to be in Tuscaloosa. They're going to have the crowd, and all of a sudden it's not the game I thought it was going to be.
And I'm interested to see, because Michigan's going to bring a crowd, just because they're Michigan. Alabama, is just going to go in droves over there. And so I think it's going to set up. But, unlike Penn State, they've got such a dynamic quarterback option with Robinson. And I just think there's going to be some fireworks early that I'll be interested to see, because, Alabama's got to break in some new guys on defense. So I think it's going to be a game that's going to be kind of close in the first half, and I think that Alabama will just kind of wear them down after that. But Brady Hoke, he's won everywhere he's been, so I'm looking to see that it's going to be a good game.
Like I said, I'm hoping that it's not, that surprise. I'm expecting a really good game there. Of the four, I'm most excited to watch that one.
Right.
And so, and then there's another good game Sunday.
Yeah. Well, we also missed Southeastern Louisiana, Missouri. I don't want to tick off Missouri fans in case like David Nell or somebody's watching or listening to us, but that was one of those mini 5 cupcake games there that
I apologize. Missouri shouldn't have an issue there.
They're new to the group, so we don't want to make them too mad.
And now, will Franklin be back for that game? Is it?
I have no idea. I haven't kept up with anything with regards to Missouri.
I know he had some banged up a little bit.
Yeah,
and,
I think he's fine.
I think from last indications, we're going to see him come out, and that's something else, is another gunslinger in the SEC. It's because that's not what you're used to seeing in the SEC. The gunslingers aren't here. It doesn't mean we don't have talent.
Yeah.
But aside from Arkansas, I'll give Tyler Wilson. He's a gunslinger. But, all those big arms that you think of, you don't think of SEC when you think of that. So Franklin does bring that element to the SEC, and so he's going to bring that level of excitement. But like I said, Sunday does have a game. I'll be somewhat excited.
Oh, man,
about.
This is like the rivalry in the week 1.
I know. It's like the Daytona.
Opposite.
It's the Daytona 500 of football.
That's right. That's awesome. And it's at Louisville, right?
It is at Louisville.
Man, I'm going to be.
For those who haven't figured it out, it's UK U of L.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Papa John's.
I don't know if we have a chance, but.
Stadium.
Last year we thought we should be able to win that game, and we gave it away. So maybe since we have no chance this year, we can come back and steal one.
Yeah, you never know in those rivalry things. I think Louisville's going to have a strong year this year, especially playing in just a poor Big East. But I definitely think that they're the favorite in that world. But being at Papa John's and kind of getting that thing started off, I think.
And you got a Louisville program that's top 25 this year.
Yeah.
They're expecting
with
some good things.
With a great quarterback, I
think.
in
the Big East. They're in the Big East this time, right?
Yeah.
They've changed so much here recently.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Kentucky's going to have much of a shot here.
What time's that game?
It's an early game.
It's like a mid-afternoon?
3:30 Sunday.
My wife and I are staying in Louisville on Saturday night.
It's a 3:30 Eastern kickoff.
Just need to make sure I'm out of town early and I don't head that way. I don't want to get caught in a bunch of Kentucky trash stuff.
Easy killer.
I'm sorry. My wife's from there, so.
Yeah, but she bleeds red and black.
I know she does.
So, Well, that's our weekly rundown of the picks. Like I said, as we get into the season and we move this podcast closer to the game day, you're going to see some numbers there. So we're going to give you actual picks as opposed to just covering them. But we did want to give you a podcast this week, a real podcast, as opposed to that 10-minute updated one I gave you yesterday. So we did want to do that and kind of give you another chance to get some information about how you can follow along on the picks. We will put those picks out on the website as well, so everyone can kind of see what's been going on, how we're doing, so that you can keep up with how well the hosts are with their picks. And so it's that time of the podcast where it's time for open mic. Anything you want to throw out there?
I'm so excited about this weekend of football that I'm going to take my wife to Louisville on Saturday and probably not watch any football. So looking forward to that. She's got a family deal that always happens on Labor Day, and so we're going to let the grandparents take the little guy for a night, and we're going to go stay at the Seelbach Hotel downtown Louisville and go eat a nice meal and maybe go hit a little 4th Street Live and kind of have a night out.
And you will be in the mess of the Louisville, Kentucky stuff.
Yeah, so it'll be ought to be a pretty entertaining time. So now that I think about that, I need to go set my reservations for the dinner place that I want to go now. Make sure I get that lot nailed down. But
you're going to tell the fans so they can go make reservations
That's
and
right.
keep you from it.
Exactly.
All those Kentucky fans that listen, they can.
I'm not going to tell them where I'm going yet.
They can go on out there and
That's
just
right.
put fake reservations, have it booked up for you.
I will say that I'm going to Lynn's Paradise Cafe for lunch on Saturday. If you've never been, it's a must stop in Louisville. Probably some of the best mac and cheese I've ever had in my life.
I've never been there.
Oh, man.
I lived in Louisville for 2 years.
Oh, it's fast. I don't know exactly where it's at, but it's kind of in an eclectic part of
Frankfurt Street, maybe?
Possibly.
There's a lot of cool
it's a really
restaurants.
cool place. It's kind of like a funky, cafe type place, but they have, everything from your burgers to stuff. I think actually a Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. You know what was happening there? They actually did Bobby Flay did a throwdown there. If you follow the Food Network and know about Bobby Flay's throwdowns, but it's a fantastic place, and I've been there a couple of times. Every time I go to Louisville, it's the one place I want to go to. So I'm looking forward to it. Kind of get away and for the first week, and then the next week I'm going to be going to the Mississippi State Auburn game, and I'm going to have to, for most of you that don't know, it's an 11 a.m. game, and they close the streets to the junction 4 hours before kickoff. So it means that we have to actually be there before 7 a.m. to set up the tailgate. So it's going to be a little brew most of the time, early.
Yeah, those 11, 12 o'clock kickoffs are rough for tailgating.
Yeah, but they're good if you win, because then you can kind of celebrate and just have the rest of the afternoon and evening to watch games and kind of enjoy the time. If you lose, it stinks. But then you get to watch football and kind of hang out, and you don't have to be like 11 o'clock getting home and
I like the CBS time frame too. To go to a game, that's a perfect one.
Time.
You get there early enough that you get some tailgating in. You're out early enough that you can still continue to enjoy yourself if it's a win. Get home and watch more football if it's not. So that's a good time, but you only get that one game, 1 or 2 games to get that slot from that standpoint. Second would have to be the night games. Yeah. And so you get the excitement there, though. And I guess I'm at an age now where going out after the night game is a rarity.
Oh yes.
With my round table or my open mic, I really don't have a whole lot to add to that. I'm going to an undisclosed location at this point. I doubt the individuals that need to know are going to be listening, but I'm in the same boat you are this weekend as far as I'm getting the better be quiet look from my wife coming off camera here. So I'm not going to disclose any details of I've got to go to Memphis for work, and do have to do that, and going to miss a lot of the football. So I'm so glad that Comcast has worked out their deal with ESPN this year, so that Watch ESPN is now on your mobile devices.
Nice.
So there's probably going to be a lot of streaming of the ESPN and ABC games on the iPad and the iPhone.
Awesome.
Through this week, and so your Android would get it too.
Sweet.
So that's one bit of good news, is that because last year Comcast didn't have that deal. So, if there was an ESPN3 game, which there were a couple of them that I really wanted to watch, or an ESPNU, I guess that's what it was. Was it ESPN3 last year? They changed the name so much.
No, ESPN3 is just the only mobile.
Well, that's ESPN
device,
yeah.
And then ESPNU
is it a separate channel?
Is a separate channel.
But those are also broadcasted on ESPN3. And so it's nice now that I can at least have that as an option. So when I am out and I can get Wi-Fi, or even on the phone with a 3G, catch some of that as well.
Awesome.
So I'll be doing some of that this week as well for some of those games. But on the next week's open mic, I'll have a lot of fun to talk about where I will be. So I'm excited about that.
Sweet.
So with that, guys, we're going to. And I'm looking down at the counter. I can't believe we've done it. It's an hour and 20 minutes into this podcast, and I was like, gosh, there's nothing to talk about. We're only going to have another 30-minute podcast, and we're an hour and 20 minutes in. With that, guys, we'll call this podcast done.